All right, hello everyone, and happy Tuesday. We have an upper body strength session that we are going to get through today, in addition to a nice, sweaty, spicy cardio circuit that we will be doing after the strength and after the warm-up. For the warm-up, we will not be using anything except the best piece of equipment, our body, and our mat, of course. But for these strength exercises themselves, I will be using my 8-pound dumbbells. I have my loop bands kicking around here, and then if you do have a TRX, and if you want to use it and set it up for some of our rowing exercises today, then you can do that. The other option would be our long bands anchored onto something. You can also incorporate those. So let's get you started with this warm-up. And no equipment, just your body. We're going to stick our arms out to the sides and start drawing these small circles that are going to progressively get bigger until they're as big as they can go. So we'll go through these. Once you're at that top biggest circle that you can make, we'll stop and start going in the other direction and do that same thing, progressively making them smaller until they are back to these little ones. Once you're done that, we'll swing out those arms over and under, keeping the palms facing down, going through 20 total, over and under, counting every rep, 20 of them, warming up our shoulders for all the stuff that we are going to do today. So once you are finished, 20, we will relax our arms down by our sides and roll out our shoulders about 3 times backwards and then 3 times forwards, and trying to see how big of a circle we can draw with that shoulder. So we come up to the ears, back behind, and then down to the floor, 3 one way, and then we'll stop and go 3 the other way. Once you are done that one, we will head down onto the floor for the next one, which is all about opening up our mid-back, our upper back, and a little bit in the lower back. We want to be in this all-4 position, shoulders stacked over top of the wrists, hips over the knees. We'll take our one hand, reaching it through, inhaling and then exhaling, opening up, following that hand with your eyes, trying to see the ceiling right above yourself. We'll close that, inhaling, open that, exhaling, going through 10 on this side, and then we'll switch and do 10 on the other side. Now, it's very important when you're doing this that we are not moving the legs or the hips, because if that's happening, if you're shifting around in your backside, we're most likely not moving through that back, your mid and upper back, but rather through those hips. So we'll really lock those guys in place through our 10 and then our 10. So we'll get that going on both sides. Warming it up. This one always feels really nice to do, especially if you were here yesterday for that session we did. This is going to help loosen you up from that. So we'll get through those. Once you finish, don't go anywhere, because we have one more to do down here, which is all about our wrists. We want to stay in this all-4 position. Fingertips are going to face forward for this first one. We're going to rock our body weight over top of our fingertips until we feel some tension in the wrists and in the forearms. So we'll go forward, and then we'll go reset. We'll do that about 5 times with the intention of, again, trying to loosen up everything in the forearm, around the wrist. There we go. And we'll do that 5. Once you're done, we have one more to do, but for this one, we'll turn the hands so that our palms and our fingertips are facing away from each other, palms facing each other, and then we'll rock side to side for this last one here. Again, you'll feel some stretching action, a little bit of tension. Should not be painful. If it is painful, you're most likely going a bit too far. The wrist, the hand, the entire hand should stay down on that floor. So we'll go through these 5 per side, and then we are standing back up to the top for the next one. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is all about your upper back and the back of your shoulders. We're going to stand up nice and tall, hip width apart in the feet, soft knees. We'll hinge our hips back, so we're in this nice, strong position, straight in our lower back here. We'll take our hands and turn them so that our thumbs are facing this way. And I'm going to turn so you can see what's going on here. Opening up one way here, so I'm going in line with the shoulders, and we'll come back down. And then I want to go up into a Y position, like so. And then I'll take that into an I position. So these ones, we're going through each point, counting every rep. We'll do 15 total, taking a T position, so I'm in line with the shoulders, okay? And then we have that Y, I'm up like this, And then finally that eye, which of course reaches right above our head. We're keeping our thumbs up in this one as we go through them. We'll get through our 15 reps of these ones. Come on in, Bobby. Awesome. Okay, so we're going through these ones again, trying to warm up our upper back, thumbs up, 15 total TYIs. So as we finish up these ones, again, trying to keep our arms straight, we can once again stand up and swing out our arms. We'll grab ourselves some water because we should be feeling warm. We're going to start off with our first exercise. I'll get my list out on our app screen. Okay, so today's Tuesday, and we have a theme that we follow on our Tuesday upper body sessions, which is practicing and working on our push-up strength, which is exactly what we're going to be doing today. Now, the last few days, we've been tapping much more into our push-up endurance. We've been doing those minute-long bouts of those push-ups. The good news is today is that we're going to dip way down into the lower rep range and focus on trying to do these as strong as possible for a lower amount of reps, rather than doing as many as we can for a longer amount of reps. So the rep range today is 5. It's not actually a range, it's a number. So you're doing 5 push-ups at a time. We will be completing 5 sets total. We'll start off with the first set right here. This is going to count as our first official set. We're going to try to see if we can get 5 full body push-ups in, okay? So come on down here, join me on the floor, and we'll try to see how we feel in our first set, going down to 90, and then exhaling and pushing ourselves up. Now, for some of us, especially those of you who found that, the last day you did the minute and you could actually do that full minute, doing 5 reps of a push-up is not going to be the most challenging thing, okay? But we need it to be. That's the whole idea of doing this low rep range, is that we're really challenging ourselves and we are not able to do 6 or 7 or 8. So what we're going to think about today is slowing down the eccentric or the lowering phase of every one of those reps in order to make that set feel like we just did way more than 5, okay? So do your first set, see how you feel. What we're going to do between each set is just rest, which I know sometimes can be a little bit of a foreign concept. You can stand up, stay on the floor. It does not really matter to me, but we're going to take about 45 seconds to a minute. So a little bit longer than we normally rest between our supersets. And this is because, again, we are trying to do these and make them so for that low rep range, okay, which is all about our strength, getting us stronger, those push-up muscles, making the push-up itself feel easier by challenging ourselves in them. So we'll take this rest right now. Shake it out if you want. Grab some water, okay? Sit on your floor. Doesn't really matter to me. But what we're going to do is complete 4 more sets of these 5 rep range push-ups, all right? So once you feel ready, we will get down and go into our second set. Now, again, we should be feeling at the end of that set like we do not want to do 6, okay? And if we tried to go for 6, we might be able to squeeze it out, but it probably would be a little bit ugly because we're so worked and tired on that 5th rep. So that's really what we're going for here, which is why I suggest taking a little bit more time on that lowering phase, because it makes a big difference. And then we're just sticking at 5. We don't have to think about doing more, which is nice. So when you're feeling ready, again, we'll go into that second set, maybe taking 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds to get down into that push-up rather than our 2 and then our 2. Okay, you can even take a little bit longer if you are push-up aficionado. You're really good at them. You'll love them. I know maybe there's some of us out there. But you can take as long as you want, lowering yourself down, keeping in mind that the longer you take, the harder the rep, the harder the set. Okay, so we'll get through the second one. Whoop, whoop, whoop. For those of you who struggle to get 5, maybe you're hanging out getting like 2 or 3 really good ones, and then you can't quite get those last 2 to make it a full set of 5. Or maybe you could on your first few sets, but then as you get to your 3rd, 4th, and 5th set, it's really not happening. So there's a couple options. First option is staying down on the floor and working with that same eccentric or lowering face, okay, that negative face here, and then using your knees on the way up, but resetting onto the toes so we get that benefit of lowering ourselves down. You can do as many as you can normal, and then finish off your set like this. The other option is finding something in our household to elevate our push-up, okay? So you can use the back of the couch, your bench if you have it, something that is off of the floor, that's going to bring you up off the floor, that you can do this push-up off of. But we will try to see if we can do 5 full body push-ups after all the weeks of doing all the high rep ranges. This should be, in theory, feeling pretty strong compared to how we've felt in the past, in theory. So we'll take this rest. We have 2 more rounds, and then we're done these push-ups for now. There you go. Okay, so we'll, again, take the rest. Try to take at least 45 seconds to 1 whole minute of rest between these sets. Okay, and again, we're breathing. We are drinking water if you want. You can stay on the floor. You don't necessarily have to stand up and pace around your room. That's okay. But whatever is going to help you feel stronger and like you are more able to do this next set of 5 push-ups. 5. Okay, so we'll start our 3rd set. If we have not already. We have about 5 minutes to finish up, which is just enough time to finish up about 2 more sets. So you are done your 3rd. Okay. So we'll work through these. The nice thing about these low rep ranges is that they really do help us feel that strength in the push-ups. You know, when we do them for 15 reps at a time, or for example, last day we did them for a full minute and I had to just go as hard as you can for a minute. Sometimes that can be a little bit disappointing because you'll feel like you are so exhausted. Okay, whereas this lower rep range, we're really trying to lock in our technique and do them as properly as possible, and being able to maybe do more, but also just the ones that we can do, we want to make them feel easier, because that is progress, okay? Just because you can't add 2 more push-ups or 5 more push-ups to your maximum amount that you can do, doesn't mean that you're not getting stronger at them. Sometimes just simply feeling like they're easier or feeling stronger in the set, that is a huge accomplishment, and that will take you far. That's why we do all these push-ups all the time and all the crazy stuff in them, because it takes a lot to improve, but it does happen. It does, in time, in practice, all the things. So we have 1 more round, the last one. Lots of time to get through it. We'll take about 3 more minutes to finish up our last couple sets. So again, a little water break, a little rest round, and then we will get back down there for our final set of these push-ups. For now, we have a little optional push-up at the end in our conditioning work, in our cardio circuit. But this is it for these strength ones. So let's really try to challenge ourselves. Maybe slow it down a little bit more than you did on the last couple sets here, okay? Because that is how you're going to get stronger and better at these, is by really making yourself uncomfortable and doing them in that uncomfortableness, in that uncomfortable feeling. So we'll really tune into that in this final set. 5 reps, okay, you got this. Try to exhale out of every single rep, using your breath to push yourself off the floor. Let's see how we do. Final set. Once you're done, you can grab, again, some agua, walk it off for real, because we are going to move on to the next part after this one. Okay. Nice work, my friends. So I'll give you just about 1 more minute to finish up. If you're not already, if you are done, well, then you can just rest. Think about how good you feel. 5 sets of 5, that is 25 push-ups done. Doesn't sound like a lot, but they felt hopefully really challenging. So What we're going to need for the next part, we are going to be working with a superset of 2 exercises. One of them is a back exercise, and one of them is going to be a chest pushing exercise. So I'm going to be using my dumbbells as well as my bands, and now is the time to shine. If you have a TRX, if you want to hook that guy up, set it up. You can also incorporate your long bands, if you have the ones that like this, or the ones with the handles. If you want to anchor it onto something, we can use it, because our first exercise is going to be a single arm row. So we're going to be working with, I will show you this option with dumbbells, the band, and then I'll talk about the loop band. You can also, again, use your TRX for this first one. Single arm row. If you're using dumbbells or a band, we're going to get into this bent over hip hinge position, palms facing in, strong arm out here, and then I'm going to pull up and slightly out around my ribs. No rotation. Okay, so we're just working with this kind of neutral row. Turn to the side so you can see. Trying to pull the shoulder back behind my ear, feeling this muscle do this work. Okay, so we'll go through these 12 reps per side. And again, we're trying to pull slightly out. We don't want our arm to touch our body. So if you're feeling that, you gotta kind of wing it out slightly, and you'll feel what happens. Okay, we involve a little bit more through the upper back. It's gonna make it feel a bit more challenging, which is what we want. So we'll get through these on the first side, and then we'll switch and do 12 on the second side. You'll note that I'm using 2 of my dumbbells to make a nice heavy 16-pounder, because the back muscles are very strong muscles. Okay, so you can challenge yourself with either 1 heavier dumbbell, 2 light ones. Then you can always use your bands or your TRX to do this as well. Okay, so we'll get through these 12 and 12. Pairing this one, we're going to lay on our back on the floor, taking our dumbbells, preferably with us down here, into a narrow grip, together chest press. So I'm going to take the dumbbells and push them together so that they're squeezed in the whole time. I'll take my shoulders and pull them down into the mat. So I'll show you this real quick here. So naturally, we kind of sit with a bit of space here, but we want to remove that space. So let's see if we can all do that for ourselves and try to squeeze our shoulders together. As you do that, you might feel some space being made under your back, and that's okay. We're going to bring the dumbbells down underneath the bra line and then push them up, trying to squeeze them together the entire time. Working with 12 here of this press. The harder that I draw my dumbbells into together, the harder that it's going to be. So the more pressure I create, the more challenging it'll be on my pressing muscles. So we're going through 12, okay? If you don't have a dumbbell, or dumbbells, I should say, anything really works in your hands here. Household item, you can grab like a book, there's lots of books in there, and squeeze a book between your hands. Something, you can just use your hands like this to create pressure. Of course, if you add a weighted object, it's going to add weight to that press, and it's going to make it more challenging, more beneficial. So if you have weight, add it, but if you don't, then you can just squeeze something in there for that set. Okay, so this is us. We are repeating little to no rest. We'll go right back into the rows, 12 of them. Okay, back to these guys. 12 over here, and then we shall switch, and 12 over here. And we're working through 3 more rounds of this very fun stuff. The nice part about this superset is that we're working very different muscles in both of these exercises. Our rows, here are back muscles. I already kind of talked about that there. So as we're going through this set, you should feel this working, okay, on both sides. First on this side and over here, and then when we lay on our back, we're using our chest muscles and then our triceps. Okay, so we don't need any rest because we're working with a different focus in each one. So we'll try to go right into our next set. Back into the rows. Let's do it. Okay, 12 per side. Trying to squeeze our back. Now, if you're stuck with something a little bit lighter, and or if you're not really maybe feeling it that much, we know that pausing and holding makes a huge difference, especially on back exercises. So you can take your time, hold it in here until you actually feel that action that I'm talking about in your back. All right, second set. Let's do it. So we'll get through 12 of our together chest press. Now in this one, something that you can think about as well is tucking in your elbows. What that's going to do is put a bit more focus on your triceps as you go through the press and a little bit less on your shoulders. If we're kind of going like this, I'm going to be, again, kind of rounding my shoulders forward, but we want to pull them back and then tuck those arms in, and you'll feel what happens on your next set and your last one. So you have 2 more to go. Let's do it. Okay, so I always like to kind of talk about our anchored band options because I know some of us have these. And even if you have, dumbbells, you might want to switch it up one day or, make it a bit more challenging or whatever. If you don't have them available. So this banded option is great. And I actually have a little setup here on this bookcase that I can show you how to use it. So you can just loop it underneath, have it double over, and then you can go through the same style of single arm row just with that band. The banded options are always nice because you can make it really hard or really easy with not a lot of movement. We can move back slightly, and it's going to be a lot harder. Or I can move closer, it's going to be a lot easier. So they're a little bit easier to manipulate the weight rather than dumbbells, which kind of stay the same weight. So that's why you might want to use them one day. What are you doing here, Lexi? Just coming to hang out? Just here to hang out, not here to work out. Okay, so we'll get through our 3rd set. All right, down onto the floor, chest pressing, finishing strong down there. We have 1 more round and then we are done. This stuff is super set. There you go. Okay, so strong finish to our 3rd round on our chest press. Try to create that pressure. If you try to squeeze it in a little harder, see what happens. It's a little shaky. That's what we're going for. Okay, if you're not feeling that way, maybe you can get that going on in your last set because we have 1 more to go. The final one. Can you see her? Yeah, she's just standing here. What are you doing? She's coming. There you go. All right. Okay, so let's do our thing here. Last round on these 2. Finishing strong. We have our rows, our presses, and then we are moving on to the last part of strength. We have a tricep. We're going to do it circuit style. And it's cardio time. Time to release all those endorphins. Yay, get sweaty. Okay, so we'll finish up our final set here. Back to the rows. Okay, last round of them. So we'll again try to make them count. Okay, 12 should not be thinking, oh, I could do 15. We want 12 to be the max. That is it. Okay, so if you're not feeling that way on the last few sets, this is your last opportunity. Maybe you want to hold it in a little longer. Think about this shoulder being more active, pulling it behind your ear. Okay, we'll go through that set. All of the things. Very nice. Rows, the rows, the rows. Okay. So this is it for these ones. The last set of them. So we'll finish up here with our final set of our chest press. We'll be working through 12 of them. Again, trying to tuck in those elbows, create that tension between those dumbbells. So if I was to come through that screen there and try to pull your hands apart or pull your dumbbells apart, it would not happen. Fortunately, I can't do that, but you can imagine it and try to just, again, push them together as much as you can. She's bugging me. Sorry. Okay. She just wants to be on the camera. All right, so we'll finish up here. Last set, 12 of them, and then once you are done, you can grab some water, and we are going to move on to the last part of strength. Right, all right. 12 reps. So once you're done, I'll give you about 1 more minute to finish up, but once you are done, you can grab some agua. Now is a great time. We are going to need all of that stuff still for our last part of our strength, which, like I said, is a tricep. So we will be working with 3 movements done back to back, although there is a little bit of rest, but only at the very end. We will be taking 30 to 45 seconds of rest once we're done that 3rd movement. Okay, you'll probably feel like you need it. You'll see why. What we're going to do is start off with our first movement, which is going to be back in this bent over position, a tricep kickback. So I'm going to be using my dumbbells, 8-pounders in my hands here, back in our bent over position. We'll be going through a row like this to get ourselves into our start point, and then we'll be working with a kickback. So I'm trying to keep this upper part of my arm fixed. The only thing that's moving is through my elbow, and I'm just kicking these dumbbells back and then putting them down back to 90 degrees. So we'll be working with 15 of these guys, okay? So we'll try to see if we can get through 15 of them. So we'll work through those. If you are using bands, what you're going to do is hold the band like this, okay, and then same thing, but you'll just kick 1 back at a time, okay? And then you can count out those 15 total, as they are going to take you a little bit longer. Okay, so we'll get through our first set of these, all about the triceps, which you're probably maybe feeling. Maybe. Okay, so once you're done that one, we are headed back down onto the floor for the next one, which is a straight arm pullover. So this is a back exercise, little bit of sneaky core work in here, but the main focus here are these back muscles that run down the sides of your back. Again, ideally we want dumbbells. If you're working with anything heavier than 10 pounds, you can put 1 down and just hold 1 sideways. Okay, because if this is too heavy, it kind of becomes unsafe and uncomfortable. Back in this position, hands are separated. We're going to pull our shoulders down just like we did in the press, but this time they're going to stay there. Straight arms are going to reach back and then pull over. And that's 1. And we're working through 15 of these straight arm pullovers. And we should be thinking about this guy here. As we lower, you're kind of feeling a stretch. And then as we pull over, we're thinking about using that to pull ourselves over. Okay, we want to make sure those shoulders are down. 15 of them. All right, let's do it. Again, if you're working with bands, you can just hold the band 1 side in each hand and work through the same pullover. Okay, same rules apply with the shoulders, the arms, to have space underneath our back, because the most important thing is pulling the shoulders, not necessarily pushing the back down. Okay, so that's our second one. We have 1 more, and it's standing back up to the top. Okay, so the last one, we're going to do is a wide grip row. So if you have a TRX, that is a great option to do this with. I don't have that, so I'm going to use my dumbbells. I will also, again, show you the banded option, okay? What we're going to do is get right back here into this bent over, palms facing my legs, and I'm going to row up and into this 90-degree position, trying to target the back of my shoulders. All about that posture correction, good posture promotion. We'll work through 15 of these guys. And then, like I said, once we're done, which you're probably going to feel, we will be taking about 30 to 45 seconds of a rest before we go back into our next set. A little bit different in terms of our count. I'm going to be setting us a timer, which I just pressed start on right now, for 10 minutes. Okay, so we have 10 minutes right now. You will complete as many rounds as you can of this in 10 minutes, keeping in mind that we do have that rest once we're done the rows between every set. Okay, and that rest is in there because we're going from this row, which is a bent over exercise, and then we're going back into this one here. So being down in this position, especially for a higher rep range, like a 15, it puts quite a bit of work and stress on our lower back. Mostly it's just working from having to hold ourselves here. So that time of rest, once you're done your rows, before you do your triceps, is to allow your low back muscles to rest, okay? Because I know we're most likely combining 2 of these bent over exercises, and these guys, they don't like to be worked like that. and the rest might just help you not feel that so much and focus more on your back and your triceps. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll start our next set. Back to the triceps. Okay, 15 reps of them. There you go. Okay. So a couple ways, if you, again, don't have dumbbells, if you're working with these triceps, you can actually use bands by either standing on the bands or looping the band like this to do this tricep. So I just have kind of one side looped underneath there, and then I'm kicking them back here, and this is actually quite challenging with this band. So that's the option if you are using that for your triceps. For the pullover, you can also use an anchored band, the one with or without the handles, and we can lay on our back and just pull our band over like this. Okay, you can work through your 15 reps, again, trying to think about your back muscles. And this one, we probably have to kind of slow it down a little bit, think about it a little bit more. Sometimes it's hard to feel that in that right place, which is why I kind of try to give you all those cues and all those things to kind of lock in before you start, because it just sets you up for a more successful set. So hopefully you're feeling successful in your set. So we'll get that done, 15. And then we have our last one, our wide grip rows. Where we're trying to really hike those elbows up, way up there, okay? And that's gonna allow us to target the back of our shoulders. Back here, not so much these ones. So we're really trying to tap in to those ones, and those are the ones that help to set our shoulders into this nice position for our posture. So it's important, again, that you are pulling those back and getting those elbows up, all the way up there, to that uncomfortable spot. You know where it is. So 15, and then we shall rest. We have 6.5 minutes left to do this. Perfect. Just checking out our last part here. Okay. So the rest. Boop, 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 boop. Think about how we're feeling in our upper body. Okay, get ourselves ready for our third set. Back into that first one. Now, for most people, this position, this bent over position with this tricep kickback, this is going to make these dumbbells feel a lot heavier than if we were to use them, for example, in this position, like this. Okay, so if you're doing those standing ones like that and you cannot do 15, the most important thing is that you're doing a tricep exercise. Okay, so if you want, if you need to, you can always sub in any of our other tricep movements for that standing kickback, because I understand that one's a little bit new to us. It's also really demanding, challenging, because gravity is adding to the weight for that kickback. So if you need to, you can do that one, the one I just showed you there, or you can sub all together, maybe you don't even have dumbbells, for a wall tricep. Okay, this is a great option. Work on the triceps. Okay, dips are another one. Maybe you don't want to do those though, because you know they're hard. But we can do any of the above to get that work in instead of those ones. Because if the weights are too heavy, and I'm asking you to do 15, and you're struggling to maybe even get like 5, you're not going to have a very good set of doing 15, and you might just want to all together find something that's a bit more manageable, as it's important that you do 15 reps total. It's part of the program. All right. So we'll get to this set. More than halfway there. We have about 4.5 minutes left. And anytime we're on this AMRAP timer, my laptop's asking me to plug it in. But anytime we're on this timer, what you guys can think about is not necessarily like rushing to complete X amount of sets. We're on this timer because I don't really want you to think about how many sets that you're doing. Some of us, we kind of need to gauge, and 3 to 4 is always going to be that starting point. Anything more than that is great, but we don't have to rush ourselves through our exercises in order to get like 5 or 6 sets. Sorry, just 1 second here. Plugging this bad boy in. Here we go. Yeah, so I would prefer you to make it, a much more challenging 3 to 4 sets over like a speedy, quick rush through 6 to 7 sets. Hopefully that makes sense. So we'll take our time here on our last couple rounds. We have 3.5 minutes to do our thing on these 3. And we're almost there. We have one last part after this. We know this last part always makes us feel so good. So maybe not so much when we're doing it, but afterwards, we get the blood flowing and all that. Okay, so we are breathing through this last set, maybe last 2 sets, 3 minutes. Okay, don't forget to take your rest. And if you're feeling like you don't need the rest, what I want you to do on this next set is make it feel harder. Okay, we know how to do that. More time under tension, more time under that weight. We can either pause, okay, that can go for the triceps too. We can pause, or we can slow down, bringing them back home. Okay, that lowering, that return phase, just like we practiced in the push-ups for any exercise, is going to make it harder. Okay, any strength exercise, slowing down, as much as we don't really want to. Okay, but you're going to get way more. You just take your time with it. 2.5 minutes. Okay, we'll finish up the set. These 3. And then we are done. Woo-hoo. Okay. Okay, so we'll get those triceps done. Ooh, the 15 reps on each of these. Head down onto the floor for our straight arm pullovers. For the back. There you go. Okay, so now I'm trying to glue those shoulders down onto your mat so there's no space behind them. There can be space between your lower back. That helps you keep your shoulders down more. Okay, we've got 1.5 minutes, so we'll finish up this set, taking your time with it. And then once we are done this one, we can be done this part, okay? Unless you want to add in one more set, or you can just take rest once you are finished. We're all kind of at different parts here, and that's okay. So I'll give you 60 more seconds to see how far between when this timer goes off and when we need to start the final part. So if you are kind of in between a set or just finishing up your last set but not quite there, feel free to finish up, okay? Because you got 45 seconds on here, but if you want to finish up because it's going to make you feel better mentally and physically, then I am not going to be, I'm not opposed to that. I'm happy about that. So we'll take our time, about 30 more seconds on the clock to finish up the strength for the upper body. Okay. Nice work, my friends. So we have 10 seconds. I am going to press stop on here, okay? But it is done in 5 seconds. Very nice. So I pause that timer. Again, if you are finishing up that set, you can finish up the reps that you have left. And then, once you are done that part, and we can grab some water and get ourselves ready for our final part, which is all about our cardio and our conditioning and getting our heart rate up, releasing our endorphins. Woohoo! So, once you're finished, grab yourself some water. Again, please take a little bit of time here to rest, regroup. We have about 3 minutes until we have to press start on this timer. Okay, so you have a little bit of time. You want to finish up. I am going to set our timer right now for our last part because I know I had it set kind of weird last day. Okay. So we are working with, all right, my friends. So we have a nice 16-minute circuit that we are going to finish you off with today. So we are going to start off right now with talking about our first exercise. We're on a timer, nice news, 60 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest. So we're going to have 1 minute to do this work. Okay, I'm going to show you the first one, which is not new to us, and then we'll have 20 seconds between this one and the next one where I will show you the other exercises. We have 3 movements total, although one of them is a double-sided exercise. We are going to complete 4 sets. Okay, so let's get into our first one so that we can get it done, so that we can get out of here, although we're at home, so it's not like we're going anywhere. Walk out push-up is going to be our first one. So we're going to come to the end of the mat. I'm going to press start on this timer, and you will join me going into a walkout. Okay, and then we have a push-up at the bottom, and then we walk back up to the top. Now, like I said at the very beginning, this push-up always is optional when it comes to the cardio, because you might be pushed up out, but I do recommend and suggest that you try to do one for the 60 seconds. Okay, you guys ready? Ready as you're ever gonna be? All right, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, first set, let's do it. So again, if you wanna leave the push-up out, you don't have to do it. Maybe you just walk down, and then you walk back up to the top. Woo! Okay, and then you go through that. Or if you want to challenge yourselves, what you can do is every time you walk out, you can add a push-up. Okay, so you walk out, you do 1, you walk back up, you walk out, you do 2, you walk back up, and you add a push-up every time you go down into the bottom. Okay? Again, the goal here is to keep you moving, is to get your heart rate up, and that definitely happens when we go through this walkout, the up and the down. You need to make it a little easier, a little closer to the floor. You can widen up your feet. Okay, and if you do, tend to get a little lightheaded, you can think about kind of squatting down more into it rather than having your butt lift up. You can kind of sit down, and it tends to kind of not have so much blood flow up and down. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, so that was the first one. We will be back there. We're on to the second one, and I forgot to mention that we want to move stuff out of the way. I kind of have my dumbbells in the way here. So I'm on one side of my mat. What we're going to work with is our 1, 2, 3, 4 side lunge. Okay, so it's been a minute. Welcome back. Here we go. We're going to 1, 2, 3, 4 side lunge. If you're low impact, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, march into that side lunge. That depth of the side lunge will depend on your mobility. So ideally, you want to get down to 90 degrees, but if you don't have the mobility, then maybe you don't sit so low, and that's okay. Again, we're trying to move quickly through this one side only the entire time. Okay, so we have 30 seconds left on this side. Let's do it. Woo! So ideally, I would like you guys getting up into a high knee, but if that's not happening, we can always do a butt kick side. Woohoo! And time. Okay, resting, making our way over to the other side because we now have to do a minute over here. So take a couple deep breaths. Starting to feel it, starting to get warm in here. All right, so we're going to start off again, lifting that side we'll be lunging on, and let's go. So 1, 2, 3, 4 into our side lunge. Trying to work with our arms and our legs. Okay, and that goes for low impact, high impact, whatever you're doing. We'll try to get those knees up, move the arms, do that. Let's do it. Okay, halfway there. Woo-wee. Let's do it. Breathing through this one. And this is the one you're going to have to pace yourself through. You're getting a little bit of sneaky mobility work in that inner thigh. You may feel that stretch action going on there. 10 more seconds left. You got this. And we're breathing through this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, last one. We're going to work through. It's going to be our infamous jumping jacks. Nothing fancy about them. We're going to be working with 60 seconds of these jacks. That's gonna really get the heart rate up, no matter how you're feeling right now. Are you ready? Get ready and let's go. So we're working through these ones, and if you are non-jumper, you are going to work them like this. You can always sub in as well for a knee to elbow if you don't jump. You might find them, you might get the job done a little bit more efficiently, get the heart rate up, and all of that if you like, rather than the jumping jack or the low impact jack. Okay, but whatever you're doing, let's do it. Working through this for 30 more seconds. Now, I'm going to talk about some options as we go through our sets, because if you remember, we have to do 3 more. On these jumping jacks, again, we're trying to move as consistently as possible through the whole minute. We don't necessarily have to stay with our normal jack, though. We can do our seal jacks, these ones here. Or we can also do, if you want to really challenge yourself, a star jack like this. Woo! Those are going to be hard, though, especially for a minute. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, time. Okay, nice work, my friends. On to our second set. Now, I totally realized right now, as I was reading the timer and looking at our app, that we have 3 sets. So it's probably really good news, because I said 4. Woo! But we have 3 total, so we have 2 more to go, and then we are done. Okay, back to the first one, walkout push-up. Almost forgot where we were right there. Here we go. So again, if you want to challenge yourself here, we can add more than 1 push-up at the bottom, which we know is going to make it a lot harder if we want that kind of thing in our lives right now. All right. Open the window. It's warm in here now. 30 seconds left. So when in doubt, we'll just try our best to move up and down and those walk in and outs. 25 more seconds. Very nice. Okay, so again, try and see. Maybe we can add a push-up. The extra one in there, 10 more seconds left. Last one. Yep. 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. Okay. Stand it up, get it up. We're moving on to the next one, which is this high knee to side lunge. So we'll work through, do not start yet. I got you kind of excited. 5 seconds left on our rest clock. And then we're going to start our second set. Let's go. So arms and legs, again, trying to land in that lunge, be soft on our feet, but move as efficiently as possible. We think about trying to get the knees and the lunge done as fast as possible. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, lunge, and then we can take a little bit of time here, but we'll try to be as quick and as intense as we can in those knees, in that lunge, and that's where we're really going to start feeling, getting that heart rate up, which is, like I keep talking about, the goal for right now. Hopefully you're feeling that way. 20 seconds left. Very nice. Woo! All right, 10 seconds. We got this. We do. Especially now that you only have to do it one more time. All right, rest. Okay, so we're going to bring ourselves over to the other side where we will complete our second of 3 sets. Sorry for getting your hopes up and then crushing them, or vice versa. Maybe making your day by telling you only have 3 sets. All right, let's do it. Okay, but that means that we'll try to be as intense as possible, get the most out of these last 2 rounds. Okay, so starting the second side here, trying to mimic whatever you did on the first side. Most likely, that first side might feel a little bit easier because we did it first and we're less tired on it. So we'll try to just keep up the same intensity over here. 35 more seconds. Let's do it. There you go. So breathing through these. Finishing them strong. When we are feeling tired, okay, you got this. 15 more seconds left. Go 5 more times. If you're hustling, and then you will be there. There you are. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay. Whew. Woo, woo. Resting, grabbing water. We have our round of jumping jacks. Okay, so like I said, if you want to switch it up, if you don't like jumping jacks as it is, you want to kind of do something a little different, you can try our seal jacks, moving our arms this way rather than up and down. Okay, and that also goes for low impact. I'm gonna try something else. You do this. Okay, but let's go because this is it. Our second set of our jumping jacks, where we are going as hard as we can for 45 more seconds, a minute total. Okay, whatever you're doing, we will try to do it as strong as we can. No matter how tired we're feeling right now, I know we're feeling quite tired, but that's okay. You should be, because we are almost there at the very end of the session. So if you weren't tired, then that would be maybe a little bit concerning. 25 seconds, let's go. Okay, jumping jacks, they can be so easy, right? If you go slow, you can kind of just dial along, but they can also be really challenging, okay? If you do push yourself, and if you do force yourself to go, that little extra bit, little extra level intensity. 10 seconds left. You got it. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay. Okay, my friends, we are here. This is it. Okay, we have one more set. The last one. Back to our push-ups, our walkout push-ups. Okay, this is going to take us to the end of today's session, of today's class. This final set of these. Okay, are you ready? Well, ready or not, let's go. Again, we'll see if we can do something to challenge ourselves, whether it's simply just doing a push-up or adding that ascending one every time you walk down. Don't underestimate that. It is much harder than it sounds to have those push-ups being added in. Okay, last round. Last time you're here, this is all the push-ups that you have to do this week. We threw them all in on a Tuesday, so let's get them out of the way here right now, trying to challenge ourselves for 25 more seconds. Just see if we can crank them out. A couple extra, exhaling through them. Even if they feel a little wobbly, a little wormy, okay, we'll try our best to keep doing them. 10 seconds left. Woo! Yeah! 3, 2, 1, and time. Amazing work. Okay. So we are doing our final round. These high knee to side lunges. Okay, so we'll start on whatever side. Of course, if we have a more challenging side, we'll get it done. This one is a little harder to tell than other ones, but let's go. Okay, getting her done, starting off strong and trying to hold the same pace for this entire minute. Okay, so again, trying to get the knees, the lunge done quickly. All on this side. You got it. Thinking about using our arms and our legs, especially on that side lunge, having our arms come in front of us is going to help remind us to stick our hips back, okay, rather than drive our knee forward. Safer on the knee, safer on the body. I'm always telling you guys to stick it out, especially on these side lunges. Okay, 20 seconds left. Woo! We got this. Don't stop. Okay, even if you're going maybe a little slower, that's okay. We'll keep moving for 10 more seconds. Let's have 2 times, 2 more. The knees, the lunge. Can you get it? Last one. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay. Nice work. Almost done that one. We have to do the other side. I know this one is quite tedious, okay, but it is, it definitely gets the heart rate up. We can all agree on that, I think. We are going to finish up with our last set, last side in 3, 2, 1. Let's go, okay? Final set of this one. I just showed you that, sorry. So we'll work through, again, using our arms, using our legs, trying to get our knees up here. 45 more seconds. We can handle this. I'll try to again just work through this, not think about how we're feeling, the fact that we are exhausted, okay, and tired and feeling hot and heavy. All right, you have 30 more seconds in this one, and then just a round of jumping jacks, which is no big deal. 20 more seconds. maybe it is a big deal, but we're gonna do it anyways, okay? So let's try to push through it. 15 more seconds now. Let's try to go 2 more times there and back, okay? Knees, the lunges. 2 more times, last one. You got this. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and those ones are so done. Did we miss those? Probably not. Okay, so we're going to go through our last set of the jacks, and then we're cooling down and we are finished. So it's good news, okay? That's your motivation to get through this final set of these jacks that, again, we might not want to do, but we're going to do as strong as we can. Let's go. This is it. Last round. Remember, you are in control of how much you are going to get out of this workout. Right now, you have to push yourself, okay? Because this is the most important time. This is the time where it's very easy to just stop or, to go slow and just kind of work through it. But we'll try to see for 40 more seconds we can work at that uncomfortable pace so that we will earn our rest when we are done this interval and done this session. We have lots of time to rest after this. So we'll try to get ourselves up there to that level of really needing it right now. Okay, 20 seconds, arms faster, feet faster, regardless of what you're doing, let's go. Okay, you gotta move yourself faster than you want to in order to get faster. Let's go, 10 seconds. Do it, let's do it, jumping, jacking our way to the finish line. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, and we are done. The jumping jacks, the push-up day. Woo! So what you need to do right now, which you are probably feeling, is to rest and recover. Okay, so take about 2 minutes to yourself, where all you're doing is walking around the space that you have, drinking your water, okay, trying to take those deep, calming breaths to help bring our heart rate down, all right? Because you are done today, and hopefully you feel good, hopefully you feel worked, and if you're feeling again like you are really hot and heavy, your heart rate is way up there, then you did an amazing job in that session there. If you're feeling not that way, like you're good, you can keep going, well then maybe next time you should push yourself a little bit harder, but I trust most of us are feeling quite worked, okay? So take your time to rest. I'm gonna leave you with a couple stretches. First one is our standard Tuesday, anytime we do our push-ups, our chest and shoulder stretch. So I'm using the corner of this wall here, both hands here. Door frame works best, so you can find yourself a door frame, or if you don't have that, you can just do one side at a time, holding one side and then switching, holding the other. It's a little bit more efficient to do double though, and we'll hold 60 seconds. So this is going to help us to open up our chest and shoulders from all of the pushing work, from the push-ups to the chest presses. All that stuff is kind of bringing ourselves forward like this. So we have to open it up, stretch it out so that we can keep a nice posture or get to that nice posture. So we'll hold that there for about 60 seconds. Again, if you're doing one side, we shall switch and do the other side. And then the last one that I would highly recommend you do is for your back. So I'm going to use this bookshelf here, bookcase, and I'll hold on to it, not the plant, bookcase, and then I'll lean my hips back. So again, we can use a door frame, a door handle, a TRX, anything that's not going to pull. We won't want to use a band or anything like that. And then we'll lean our hips back and we'll open up this right here. So we'll feel the back muscle. You can even increase that a little bit by turning and looking underneath your armpit like this, and we'll really open up that back here. So we'll hold this one again, same thing, about 60 seconds. This one is a little bit more beneficial doing one side at a time. So we'll do a minute over there, and then we'll switch and do a minute over here. And then anything else, my friends, that you would like to stretch from your hips, if they're feeling a little tight after all of those knees, we can get ourselves down into a little something like this, okay? You can also do your calves, because we did do so much jumping around. You might want to take some time to stretch out that calf muscle in the back. But you are done with me. So thank you so much for another amazing Tuesday workout. Thank you, Bobby, for hanging out with me in the same room. And if you watch the replay, please drop a comment so I know you're here. Have a great day, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.